In this video, I challenge the comforting lie that you are just unlucky in love. I challenge the idea that the narcissist who broke your heart was a random accident of fate. But here is the difficulty. Accepting the truth requires you to look at a hidden mathematical code embedded in your very name and birth date. If I fail to convince you, you will continue to walk into the same trap, wearing a different face for the rest of your life. But if I succeed, you will finally see the invisible equation that has been dictating your heartbreak, and you will gain the power to rewrite it. Imagine walking through a dense forest at night. You are holding a lantern. You believe the light is guiding you, but you do not realize that the specific frequency of that light is a beacon for predators. This is the reality for millions of people, specifically those with certain placements in their numerology charts. You are not broadcasting love. You are broadcasting a signal that says, "I will fix you," which the narcissist translates as, "I can consume you." We often think of attraction as chemistry, a mysterious biological reaction. But in the ancient science of numerology, attraction is math. It is resonance. It is the law of vibration. A radio tuned to 98.5 FM will not pick up a signal from 101.3. Similarly, a person vibrating at the frequency of a healer or a giver, often life path numbers 2, 6, or 9, creates a magnetic vacuum that the taker must fill. This is not victim blaming. This is physics. Because you carry a specific energetic signature, you draw in a specific energetic opposite. But the tragedy is that this opposite often comes disguised as your soulmate. The narcissist mirrors your desires, your dreams, and your deepest insecurities. They feel like home because they are reflecting your own light back to you. But mirrors are cold. They have no warmth of their own. Today, we are going to shatter the mirror. We are going to calculate the karmic debt numbers, specifically the 16 and the 19, that act as open doors for these entities. We are going to explore the missing numbers in your grid that represent your lack of boundaries. By the end of this journey, you will understand that the cycle isn't happening to you, it is happening through you, and that is exactly why you have the power to stop it. To understand the trap, we must first analyze the bait. And in the world of karmic mathematics, the most potent bait for a narcissist is the vibrational frequency of the empath. In numerology, this energy is most concentrated in life path numbers 2, 6, and 9. If you possess these numbers in your core chart, you are naturally designed to harmonize, to nurture, and to heal. Let's look at the life path 2. The 2 is the peacemaker. It represents duality, partnership, and extreme sensitivity. The 2 cannot bear conflict. Because the 2 seeks harmony above all else, they will often suppress their own needs to keep the peace. The narcissist senses this immediately. They know that a 2 will apologize for things they didn't do just to end an argument. The narcissist feeds on this compliance. They push the boundary, and the 2 retreats. It is a dance of expansion and contraction, where the narcissist takes up all the space the 2 yields. Then we have the life path 6. The 6 is the nurturer, the cosmic parent. The 6 feels a deep responsibility for everyone else's happiness. They are the fixers. When a 6 meets a narcissist, they don't see a predator. They see a broken bird that needs saving. The narcissist presents a sob story, a difficult childhood, a crazy ex, and the 6's heart activates. I can heal him, the 6 thinks. But the narcissist doesn't want to be healed. They want to be served. The 6 pours love into a bottomless pit, convinced that if they just pour enough, the pit will fill up. It never does. Finally, the life path 9. The 9 is the humanitarian, the number of universal love and forgiveness. The 9 sees the best in everyone, often to their own detriment. They are capable of forgiving the unforgivable. This is a beautiful spiritual trait, but in a relationship with a narcissist, it is a fatal flaw. The narcissist learns that they can commit any atrocity, and the 9 will eventually rationalize it as a spiritual lesson or a misunderstanding. Because these numbers vibrate with the energy of giving, they create an energetic slope. Water flows downhill. The energy flows from the 2, 6, and 9 into the void of the narcissist. But understanding this flow is only the first step. We must dig deeper into the specific debt numbers that lock this dynamic in place. Now we approach the more volatile sector of your numerology chart, the karmic debt numbers. These are numbers that indicate unfinished business from previous lifetimes. The most notorious of these regarding toxic relationships is the Karmic Debt 16-7. If you were born on the 16th, or if your life path or destiny number reduces to 16, listen closely. The number 16 is often called the Shattered Tower in tarot. In numerology, it signifies a past life where love was used as a weapon or where ego destroyed a genuine connection. People with this number often carry a subconscious guilt, a feeling that they need to be punished in love. The 16 vibration creates a cycle of construction and destruction. You build a relationship, you pour your soul into it, you think this is the one, and then, out of nowhere, the rug is pulled out. The narcissist is the agent of this destruction. They are the lightning bolt that strikes the tower. Why? Because the 16 is here to learn that the only permanent structure is the self. When a 16 meets a narcissist, the chemistry is often explosive. It feels like fate. It feels inevitable. This is because the 16 energy is magnetic to chaotic forces. The narcissist brings the chaos that the 16 is subconsciously expecting. The initial love bombing phase represents the building of the tower. It goes up fast, it looks magnificent, but the foundation is rotten. The lesson of the 16 is the destruction of the ego's illusions. The narcissist strips you of your vanity, your pride, and eventually your self-esteem. They leave you in ruins. But, and this is the crucial therefore, it is only in the ruins that the 16 can find their true spiritual center. The narcissist is not the destination. They are the wrecking ball. The universe sends you this person not to torture you, but to force you to stop building your home in other people. As long as you look for validation outside yourself, the 16 energy will bring someone to shatter that validation. If the 16 is about destruction, the Karmic Debt 19 is about dependency and power. The 19 reduces to 1. 1 plus 9 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 1. The 1 is the number of independence, leadership, and self-sufficiency. However, the 19 carries the burden of the misuse of power from a past life. This manifests in two ways. Either you were a tyrant who took from others, or you were completely helpless and refused to stand on your own 2 feet. In this lifetime, the 19 attracts narcissists to enforce the lesson of standing alone. The narcissist is the ultimate test of your boundaries. The dynamic usually starts with the narcissist putting you on a pedestal, giving you false power, and then systematically stripping you of your autonomy, making you dependent. People with the 19 often feel like they are doing everything alone, yet they are trapped in relationships where they are constantly drained. You feel you cannot leave. You feel you need them, or conversely, that they need you so much that you cannot abandon them. This is the 19 trap. It is a distortion of independence. The narcissist plays the role of the king or queen, demanding tribute. The 19 becomes the servant, trying to pay off a debt that can never be settled. You might find yourself apologizing for having needs. You might find yourself asking permission to spend your own money or see your own friends. The narcissist enforces isolation, which triggers the 19's fear of being alone. But the universe is cruel to be kind. The 19 attracts the narcissist to push you into a corner where you have no choice but to fight back. You are meant to reclaim your power, not by receiving it from someone else, but by taking it. The moment a 19 realizes that they are better off alone than in bad company, the karmic cycle breaks. The narcissist loses their grip because there is no hook of dependency left to latch onto. We must now address the most seductive trap in the numerological spectrum, the master number 11. The 11 is the illuminator, the psychic, the spiritual messenger. People with 11 in their chart, life path 11, soul urge 11, vibrate at a high frequency of intuition and spiritual seeking. They crave a connection that transcends the physical. They want a soulmate. They want a twin flame. Narcissists are master mimics. They are energetic chameleons. When a narcissist meets an 11, they sense this deep hunger for spiritual connection. The narcissist doesn't just flirt, they mirror the 11's soul. They will say things like, "I feel like I've known you forever," or "We must have been together in a past life." For the 11, this is catnip. It validates their intuition. It feels like destiny. But here is the danger. The 11 is high voltage, and the narcissist is a ground wire. The 11 mistakes the intensity of the connection for depth. They mistake the trauma bond for a spiritual contract. The highs are incredibly high, telepathic connection, shared dreams, intense passion, but the lows are devastating. The narcissist uses the twin flame narrative to manipulate the 11. When the abuse starts, the 11 rationalizes it. This is just the runner-chaser dynamic, or we are purging our karma. The spiritual vocabulary becomes a cage. The 11 stays in the relationship years longer than anyone else because they believe they are on a divine mission to save the union. The lesson for the 11 is discernment. Just because a connection is intense does not mean it is holy. A demon can wear the face of an angel. The 11 must learn to trust their gut instinct, the one that whispers something is wrong, over their spiritual longing. The true twin flame connection empowers you. It does not drain you. If you are exhausted, confused, and diminishing, it is not a twin flame. It is a parasite feasting on a master number. Beyond your life path and karmic debt, we must look at your numeric grid. This is a chart made from the letters of your name. Sometimes, what attracts a narcissist isn't what you have, but what you lack. We call these the missing numbers, or karmic lessons. Imagine your aura as a fence protecting your house. If you have all the numbers 1 through 9, your fence is solid. But most of us have gaps. These gaps are where the predator enters. The most dangerous gaps regarding narcissists are the missing 1, missing 4, and missing 8. If you have a missing 1, you lack self-assertion. You struggle to say, "I am." You define yourself through others. The narcissist enters this gap and says, "I will tell you who you are." They become your identity. When they leave or devalue you, you feel like you cease to exist. If you have a missing 4, you lack structure, order, and stability. You might be flighty, disorganized, or impractical. The narcissist enters as the solid rock. They handle the finances. They make the plans. They control the reality. Slowly, you realize that their structure is actually a prison cell. You traded your freedom for their stability. If you have a missing 8, you lack a sense of personal power and authority regarding material worth. You may undervalue yourself or have a poor relationship with money. The narcissist often uses financial abuse here. They control the resources to control you, or they make you feel that you are nothing without their status and success. Identifying these missing numbers is crucial because you cannot fix a hole you don't see. The work of your life is to fill these gaps yourself, to learn assertion, 1, to build discipline, 4, to claim your power, 8. If you fill the gap, the narcissist has no entry point. They will circle your house, look for a weakness, find none, and move on to easier prey. We have spoken about the empaths, but there is another dynamic that is purely volatile, the combination of the 8 and the 5. This is often the Bonnie and Clyde of numerology, and it frequently manifests in narcissistic dynamics. The 8 is the number of power, control, and intensity. The 5 is the number of freedom, chaos, and adrenaline. When an 8 meets a 5, the sparks fly. The 8 wants to possess the 5. The 5 wants to evade the 8. It creates a push-pull dynamic that is incredibly addictive. In a toxic scenario, the narcissist is often the chaotic 5, or a shadow 8. They bring the drama. The victim, often an 8 who craves control, tries to tame the narcissist. The 8 thinks, I am strong enough to handle this person. I can manage their moods. This is the trap of the ego. The narcissist provides the adrenaline spike that the 8 craves. Peace feels boring. Stability feels stagnant. The 8 interprets the anxiety of the relationship as passion. If we fight this hard, we must love this hard. This logic keeps the cycle spinning. The 5 energy of the narcissist is unpredictable. One day they love you, the next they ghost you. This intermittent reinforcement is a known psychological addiction trigger. Numerologically, it is the clash of the immovable object, 8, and the irresistible force, 5. For those stuck in this loop, the realization must be that high drama is not high love. Love in numerology is harmonious resonance, not a collision. The 8 needs to find power in peace, not in the conquest of a chaotic partner. The 5 needs to find freedom in discipline, not in running from commitment. Until the addiction to the high is broken, the 8 will continue to attract the 5 who destroys them. We have arrived at the most difficult part of this video, the part where we stop looking at the narcissist and start looking at the uncomfortable truth about ourselves. In metaphysical law, the outer world is a reflection of the inner world. The narcissist is a mirror, but what are they reflecting? They are reflecting your shadow self. This is a concept from Jungian psychology, but it is deeply rooted in numerology as the challenge numbers. If you attract a narcissist who is selfish, arrogant, and demands to be the center of attention, you must ask, where in my life am I suppressing my own need to be seen? Where have I decided that it is bad to be selfish? Because you have rejected your own ego, you project it onto someone else. You attract a person who has too much ego to balance your lack of ego. The narcissist acts out the parts of you that you have shamed into silence. You are the silent martyr. They are the loud tyrant. It is a perfect, terrible balance. The narcissist treats you the way you treat yourself. Do they ignore your boundaries? That is because you ignore your own boundaries. Do they devalue you? That is because you devalue yourself. Do they speak to you cruelly? That is the externalized voice of your own inner critic. This is painful to hear. It feels like blame, but it is actually empowerment. If the narcissist is just a reflection, then you don't need to change them, which is impossible. You need to change the image being reflected. You need to change you. When you start to honor yourself, when you start to set boundaries, when you start to love yourself fiercely, the reflection must change. The narcissist will either be forced to treat you with respect, unlikely, or more likely, they will simply disappear because the vibrational match is broken. You cannot reflect a victim if there is no victim standing in front of the mirror.
So, how do we solve the equation? How do we break the karmic cycle? It requires a shift in your numerological polarity. You must move from the shadow side of your numbers to the light side. If you are a life path 2, you must stop being the doormat and become the diplomat. You must learn that peace at the expense of truth is not peace. It is surrender. You must learn the power of the word no. No is a complete sentence. It is a boundary. If you are a life path 6, you must stop mothering the world and start mothering yourself. You must realize that you cannot save anyone who does not want to be saved. Your love is a precious resource, not a free utility. If you have the karmic debt 16 or 19, you must consciously work to clear the debt. For the 16, this means embracing change and building your life on spiritual truth rather than material appearance. For the 19, it means practicing radical independence, doing things alone, solving your own problems, and refusing to ask for help when you know you can do it yourself. There is also a practical numerological hack, name correction. Sometimes the vibration of the name you use daily, your nickname, your married name, reinforces the victim pattern. By changing the spelling or using a different name that adds up to a stronger vibration, like a 1, 3, or 8, you can shift your energetic signature. You literally rewrite your code. But the most important step is to raise your overall vibration. Narcissists vibrate at a low frequency, the frequency of shame, fear, and desire. Gratitude, self-love, and authenticity vibrate at a high frequency. When you raise your frequency, you become invisible to them. You are no longer on their radar. You are FM, they are AM. They simply cannot find you.
We have traversed the dark mathematics of the soul. We have looked at the 16, the 19, the missing numbers, and the empath's curse. But I want to leave you with a vision of what lies on the other side of this work. When you balance your equation, you do not end up alone. You clear the space for the golden ratio of relationships. This is a connection based on two whole numbers standing side by side. 1 and 1 making 2, not two halves trying to make a whole. The universe abhors a vacuum, but it also loves symmetry. When you become whole, you attract wholeness. You attract a partner who mirrors your self-respect, your boundaries, and your light. This is not a fairy tale. It is the law of resonance. You have been solving the wrong math problem. You have been trying to solve for X, where X is the narcissist's approval. But the variable was never them. The variable was always you. The pain you have endured was not a punishment. It was a curriculum. It was the universe shouting at you to wake up to your own value. The narcissist was the harsh teacher who forced you to study yourself. Now that you know the lesson, you can dismiss the teacher. If you are ready to see the full map of your soul, to know exactly where your debts lie and where your hidden strengths are buried, I invite you to generate your free numerology report at numeralpath.com. Don't guess at your future. Calculate it. The code is in your hands. The cycle ends today. Because now you know the math.